The labours of Heracles. Heracles was the greatest of all the Greek heroes. After being tricked into committing a terrible crime, Heracles was punished by the gods. He was made to undertake 12 labours, challenges that ranged from killing deadly monsters to embarking on impossible quests. The most well-known stories about these labours were told by the ancient Greek writers Apollodorus and Euripides. The courageous and powerful demigod Heracles was the son of Zeus, king of the gods, and Alcmene, the granddaughter of Perseus. Zeus's wife, Hera, was upset when her husband and Alcmene had a child together, and her resentment grew worse as she saw Heracles grow up, get married to Megara, and have children. Filled with hate, the goddess drove Heracles out of his mind so much so that he killed his wife and children. Despite the fact that it was really Hera's doing, the gods decided that Heracles should be punished for these crimes, and appointed Eurystheus, king of Mycenae, to decide what form this punishment should take. Eurystheus thought of 12 tasks or labours for Heracles, each one seemingly more impossible than the next. Battling beasts. The first 4 labours that Eurystheus set Heracles were to kill a series of beasts that had brought misery to the people of Greece. The first task was to slay a lion that had been terrorising the people of Nemea. Heracles cornered the lion in the cave where it lived, and then he killed the animal, skinned it, and made its skin into a cloak that he wore ever after. Next, Heracles had to slay the Lernaean Hydra, a many-headed creature with poisonous breath, that killed those who approached it. Whenever someone attempted to cut off the beast's heads, replacements regrew immediately. To stop the creature regenerating in this way, Heracles had his nephew, Iolaus, burn and seal each wound with a flaming torch after Heracles had cut off the head. The plan worked, and together the pair managed to slay the monster. The hero's third labour was to catch a golden-horned hind, a huge deer that had been eating all the crops in the fields around the Greek town of Serenea. The creature ran so fast that it took Heracles an entire year to hunt it down and capture it. For his fourth task, Heracles had to defeat a monstrous boar that lived on Mount Erymanthus. He chased the boar across the snow-covered lands around the mountain until it eventually tired out. Heracles returned to Mycenae with the defeated boar slung over his shoulder. King Eurystheus was so alarmed at the sight of the fearsome creature that he hid in a large chest. The mighty hero. Heracles wore the skin of the lion he slayed in his first task to remind people of his great strength. More challenges. The next set of labours were no less demanding and placed Heracles in many dangerous situations. His fifth task was to clean the stables of King Augeas, which were filled with enormous heaps of horse dung. This was more difficult and humiliating than any of his previous challenges. It was a chore that would have taken a mere mortal an entire lifetime to accomplish. But Heracles knew this labour needed ingenuity as well as superhuman strength. He shifted huge rocks to divert the path of the rivers Alpheus and Peneus, so that they ran through the stables, washing away the revolting mess. The sixth labour required Heracles to destroy a flock of flesh-eating birds near Lake Stymphalus. The fierce creatures were difficult to approach, but Heracles used a noisy rattle to frighten them, so that he could shoot them down using a slingshot as they flew into the air. Capturing the Cretan bull from King Minos of Crete was the seventh labour. Heracles went to Minos's palace and simply asked the king for the bull. Minos granted him permission to take it away if he could catch it. Mighty Heracles went to the fields where the bull had been destroying crops, grabbed the beast by the neck with his bare hands, forced it to the ground and captured it. For his eighth labour, Heracles had to retrieve the flesh-eating horses owned by King Diomedes of Thrace. Heracles tamed the mares by feeding them and seized the opportunity to seal their mouths.